Hey, what's up guys? Today we're going to be making a ring out of bronze, and there's kind of an interesting backstory to this. So my fiance's dad, so my future father-in-law, I guess that makes him, he has a collection of bronze things. So he's got like a bronze pen and a couple other things like that, and I thought it'd be cool to make him a bronze ring to go with that. And so that's what we're going to be doing today. Bronze is a cool material. It's got a really nice color. It's got, it's kind of like a darker brass, kind of. I think it's got copper mixed into it with brass, as well as, it's just like a crazy alloy, and it's a lot of, it's really good to work with, and it's also just a really beautiful material. And then it takes a really nice patina. So you can see, it might not show up well on camera, but the outside here is this kind of dark oxidized color. And then here, this is a newer surface, and I'll actually real quick do this. I just scratched up the surface of part of this just real quick, and you can see it's a lot brighter. So it's got a really cool color range depending on the polish you have on it. And I wanted to give it kind of a steampunk look to it, give it just kind of like an old ancient feeling. It kind of reminds me of like Skyrim in a way. So I thought it'd be cool to make the ring and then use heat, or I might use ammonia and salt again, like I did with the shipwreck ring, to oxidize it and just give it a cool kind of ancient look. And what I wanted to do is I'll make just kind of a simple basic ring shape using the lathe, but then I want to use the mill in conjunction with the this ball end mill that I have here, and just carve some interesting just shapes, rounded shapes into the edges of the ring. And I could explain it now, but you'll see it when I do it, it'll be obvious. So essentially, I'm just going to start on the lathe, make a more basic ring, give it some cool shaping on the mill, and then I'll use the blowtorch or some other methods to give it the kind of old finish that I'm going for. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. All right, so I took the bronze rod, I cut it in half. Now I'm going to put it in the lathe and then just true up this face. And then I'll begin cutting a just basic ring shape out of it. Then I will cut it off with the parting tool I've got here, and then switch it over to a ring mandrel to finish up the profile I want. Then we'll switch over to the mill. All right, so I flattened off this face here. Now I've got this tungsten carbide center drill, and I'm just going to use this to start the hole for the inside diameter of the ring. And then after that, I'll take a boring bar, so this right here, and then I'll widen it up to get it close to the final diameter of the ring. All right, I've got our general ring blank cut out. Now I'm gonna throw it on the expanding ring mandrel. And if you didn't know, I say this in so many of the videos, and I'm worried you guys get annoyed, but so many people ask all the time. So we sell these on our supplies website. They're just expanding ring mandrels. They are fantastic tools. Oh, screwing that the wrong way. They are a great tool for ring making. They make it so easy to just slide the ring on here and then tighten it with the Allen wrench. There you go, spin perfectly. There's a link to that in the description if you're interested. All right, so I'm done with the outer profile of the ring. I guess I should say with the lathe work on the outer profile of the ring. You can see I put those bevels on there. And the bevels were just really simple. You gotta be very careful to make sure that they're even. But I just used both of these two lathe tools here, used the back edge of it where it's got the angle on there, and just gave it that nice even bevel. So it's already looking pretty nice. It looks like a nice, sharp, classy ring. But I'm going to do some of that shaping with the ball mill using my mill, and it should give it just a little bit more of an interesting just profile, just interesting shape, I guess, and it'll kind of show off the patina a lot better in my opinion. So let's go ahead and switch over to the mill and get into that. All right, I've got everything set up. I decided I'd do 20 degrees between each notch that I cut into it. I've got the depth set exactly how I want it, and then when I'm done with this side, I'll just be able to flip the ring over. And I've got these blocks of metal here that I can set it on top of, and we can keep the depth the same and everything. The only thing I'm going to be controlling is the X? I think the Y axis of the mill. So I'm going to be going back and forth this way to put the notches in, and then I will rotate the rotary table, obviously. And then it's just going to be as simple as that. So just trying to keep the number of things that I change in between everything as simplified as possible. That way we can get a nice even pattern all the way around the ring. So without further ado, let's just go for it. All right, that is the first half completed. You can see it actually worked out really well. The spacing is perfectly even, so I'm happy with that. Didn't have any issues with the end mill breaking or anything like that. So that was great. Now I just need to flip this over, repeat the same steps on the other side, and then we'll be ready to move on to, I guess I still need to size it, then I'll size it, and then we'll do the finishing steps where we put the patina on it. So I'm excited to see how it turns out. All right, let's check this out. That actually turned out really nicely. I got the pattern super even. I was just doing the depth of it by eyeball. I was just eyeballing it. I figured that would actually, the way the dial was lining up, it was off every time because there's a little bit of play in the threads on the mill. And so you can't quite trust what the dial's telling you. So I just did it by eye. And yeah, I think we got some really nice results. Now let's go take it over to the lathe. We'll finish up the inside of it, and then we'll get on to the tarnish techniques. All right, now I've got the ring to size. Now I'll use the Dremel to round out the edges here, make it comfortable to wear. Then I'll use sandpaper to sand it up to a nice finish. spent the last few minutes devising a plan for how I want to patina this, and I decided I want to do a mix. So I'm going to use the ammonia and salt method that you've seen me do on the shipwreck ring before. And then after I do that, I'm going to be a little more subtle with it. After I do that, then I'm going to heat treat it. All right, I've got some quadruple zero fine steel wool here. I mounted the ring onto the mandrel. I used some tape to protect the finish on the inside, and I'm just gonna gently go over it. I think I'll call that good. You can still see the nice oxidized pattern on all of the surface of the ring, but we've brought out some shiny high spots, especially along the bevels. Maybe I'll get some lower grit sandpaper. Here's some 320, and I'll just focus on the hard ridges of the ring, so any of those bevel edges. All right, we'll call that good. I am digging that. I really like that. We'll get some up close macro shots that really kind of show off all the details I'm talking about, because at this point I feel like I'm just rambling. But you guys can see the results speak for themselves. I don't think that the ammonia oxidizing we did really ended up playing into the look we see here. I'm sure it affected it in some way, but I think if anything, what I should do next time is I'll do the heat treating first with the oil, and then maybe after the fact, maybe now I could do some ammonia, but I really don't want it to be green or that blue color that it gives off. I just want it to look nice and worn. And so that was something I wanted to do to just see if it might do something crazy, but I think I really like the way we're at now. So maybe in a future video we can mess around with some of that. But overall, this ring I'm really happy with. I think it'll be a great gift to my future father-in-law, and I hope he likes it. So yeah, guys, thank you so much for watching. This was a fun video to do. It was a little bit more casual, just doing some more experimentation, and it's always fun because I get to be a lot more creative. And as you guys saw, especially with like the finishing techniques, I didn't quite know exactly what I was doing. It's my first time actually making a ring out of bronze. So it was a good time. Thank you guys so much for joining me. I'll stop rambling there. If you enjoyed the video, you can give it a like. That helps me out because YouTube will then promote it harder and it gets me more views. And if you want to stick around, you can subscribe to the channel. Other than that, thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next one.